report ran for over 50 pages. The British Foreign Secretary called it proof of the most painful kind. For Leopold, the report was a fatal blow.
Ce haut fonctionnaire britannique ne se contente pas d'établir la preuve des atrocités. Il montre que ces atrocités font partie d'un système qui, par sa durée dans le temps, son étendue dans l'espace et sa répétition, est très certainement le pire des systèmes coloniaux que l'Afrique ait connu.
The Casement report so unnerved the king that he made a serious mistake. In 1904, he sent his own international commission to the Congo to investigate. He thought he could control what they said. He was wrong. He hadn't counted on the determination of one man, John Harris, a missionary at Baringa. Harris and his wife had set up a mission right in the heart of a concession area. Every day they saw the crimes that were being committed against the Congolese. As a result, Harris was waging his own war against the state.
To His Excellency the Vice-Governor-General, I have just returned from a journey inland to the village of Nsongo Umboyo. The abject misery and utter abandon is positively undescribable. A few months ago, Monsieur Pile took his sentries there. A young woman, Imanega, was tied to a forked tree and chopped in half with a machete, beginning at her left shoulder, chopping through the chest and abdomen and out to the side. It was in this way the sentries punished the woman's husband. Another woman, Bolumba, wishing to remain faithful to her husband, had a pointed stake forced into her womb, and as this did not kill her, she was shot. I found that, as in other towns, enforced public incest formed amusement for the sentries. I was so moved, Your Excellency, by these people's stories that I took the liberty of promising them in the name of the Congo Free State that in future you will only kill them for crimes.
Baringa, then and now, was at the end of the earth. The Harrises set up a hospital that still struggles on. Then, like now, the missionaries dealt with the impact of war, terror, and deprivation. Then, like now, they faced the scourge of sleeping sickness. In Harris's day, the Congo was torn apart for its rubber. Now, it's ravaged for diamonds, gold, and other minerals. The result for the Congolese is the same: generations of pain, a whole archaeology of oppression. A 100 years ago, 2 steamers came to Baringa. On board were judges, secretaries, state officials, and soldiers. Leopold's International Commission had arrived. The commission judges had been carefully chosen by the king to ensure that the outcome would be in his favor. But John Harris had gathered a host of Congolese witnesses to testify. As the judges listened to their evidence, Leopold's plans were coming unstuck. The villagers were confirming the truth of Casement and Morel's accusations. And worse still for the king, Harris had made arrangements for the evidence to be published by Morel.
Tango tokomaki na mboka Bolima, nkumu ise kifaso azalaki na kati ya ndako na ye. babomaki ye na kapita ise kitoki. Esika moko babomaki pe basi mibale ya ise kifaso na mwana moko ya muke. Bakataki ye na eteni mibale. Bafungoli pe libumu ya mwasi moko. Totiti mabumu ya mwana oyo tobomaki likolo ya bandako. Totie pe likolo ya banzete ya mike mabumu ya mwana wana. Tango tozongi na baringa, mundele apengoli basinzili nyonso. Atoni bango po anini babomi bato mosusu te, pe po anini bakangi ata moto te.
For 3 months, Leopold's commission collected the evidence for their report. One incident stands out. Lontulu, a chief from a village near Baringa, arrived unannounced. He brought with him 110 twigs. Each twig represented one of his villagers killed by the state. As he laid the twigs in front of the judges, he named each twig.
Watu Chef Yembe Kumu Yangi Kumu Mai Kumu Binzo Mwana Kwang.
The state never forgave Lontulu, and some weeks later he was tortured to death. But when the commission finally left the Congo, the Governor-General committed suicide. He slit his throat with a razor. When John Harris came back to England, the journalist W.T. Stead asked him if Leopold should be hanged at the new International Court of Justice at The Hague. Harris replied,
I think any international tribunal which had powers of a criminal court would, upon the evidence of the Commission alone, send those responsible to the gallows.
Well, the idea of one of the great perpetrators of European colonialism, and one of the perpetrators of European colonialism at its most callous and unpleasant, being brought before an international court is, I have to admit, not an unattractive one. And I suppose what we're seeing at this time, and of course it's part and parcel of this new imperialism, this crude, heavy-handed, aggressive, violent imperialism, is criticism in the West. One is seeing the development of an international radical movement, and people like Stead and people like Morel are the beginnings of a movement which eventually will produce the League of Nations and the UN. And it would be attractive to think that Leopold could have been an early victim, but unthinkable, I think, at the time.
The Commission's report had vindicated Casement and Morel, and when it was published, it even had an effect in Belgium. Leopold had tried to make it as anodyne as possible, but he had failed. For the first time, Belgian intellectuals and religious leaders came out openly against the king. There was a real chance of annexation, that Belgium would take over control of the Congo. Morel watched eagerly as step by step the king's reign in the Congo was drawing to its end. Red Rubber was published in 1906. Morel knew the king was isolated. Belgian annexation of the Congo was inevitable, but